One strike changed everything in seconds, and the cameras stopped rolling.
Remove yourself from this thoroughfare. That's the command issued by a Caucasian officer to Darius Mitchell. It wasn't an entreaty, but a menacing threat. Words crafted to demean a black man on a Sunday afternoon in Georgia. Darius attempts to offer a rebuttal, striving for composure, but the officer remains impervious. Reaching into his patrol vehicle, he retrieves a golf club, then launches an assault, swinging it down with full force overhead. The impact of the metal reverberates against Darius's shoulder. Darius collapses onto the pavement. The officer raises the club once more, but Darius retrieves something from within his jacket, something metallic and gold. It glints under the sunlight. A badge. The officer falters. The golf club slips from his grasp, striking the asphalt. 8 seconds that irrevocably altered the course of events. If you've ever experienced prejudice based on your complexion, remain present. What unfolds next demonstrates that occasionally the wronged party wields greater influence than the insignia of authority that wronged them. Darius Mitchell is merely an individual enjoying his Sabbath. He concludes his round of 9 holes at the country club. A par on the 8th hole, a bogey on the 9th, yet he accepts these results. At 37 years of age, he has comprehended that golf necessitates patience, not flawlessness. This same principle applies to his professional life, though no one at this establishment is aware of his actual occupation. His mobile device vibrates. A photograph arrives from his daughter, Layla. She is 9 years old, proudly displaying her science project, a baking soda eruption designed to mimic Mount Vesuvius. The accompanying text reads, "Dad, behold, it erupted." Darius beams, responding with 3 heart emoticons and a thumbs-up gesture. His spouse, Maya, is with Layla at her sister's residence, a mere 6 blocks from the golf course. He could opt to drive. His automobile is situated in the parking area, keys in his pocket, but Maya has been urging him to incorporate more walking into his routine. The physician echoed this sentiment during his recent physical examination. Elevated blood pressure, stress, the typical ailments accompanying his demanding profession. Consequently, Darius ambles. Pinewood Springs, Georgia, presents an idyllic facade. Majestic oak trees grace every street, American flags adorn front porches, children pedal bicycles in cul-de-sacs, the quintessential setting for families seeking quality education and secure environments. However, Darius understands the underlying implications of such descriptions. He grew up 20 miles to the south, in a district where these very phrases were employed to maintain a segregationist boundary, effectively confining individuals resembling him to the opposing side of the county line. Discriminatory housing practices, selective steering, euphemisms for a segregation that never truly ceased, merely became more subdued. He entered law enforcement 15 years prior with the aspiration of enacting change. He dedicated a decade to patrol duties, 3 years to homicide investigations, and attained the rank of detective at the age of 32. He excelled in his role, resolving cases and fostering trust within communities historically predisposed to distrust law enforcement. Subsequently, he transitioned to a different division, Internal Affairs, Atlanta, PD. This unit is tasked with scrutinizing fellow officers, the division that evokes an immediate hush in every police locker room upon one's arrival. It's a professional sphere where camaraderie is absent, replaced by an adversarial dynamic between investigators and those under scrutiny. Darius reaches into his jacket, his fingers finding his badge. Not his standard detective shield, but the specialized one. IA. 2 letters that signify a profound shift in circumstances, yet today he is off duty. Today he is simply Darius, a husband, a father, a man who has played 9 holes and desires to return home for his Sunday repast. The afternoon sun casts a heavy weight upon his shoulders. August in Georgia brings a sweltering heat that clings to the skin and air so dense it's almost palpable. He passes numerous residences lining Riverside Drive. Impeccably maintained lawns, the rhythmic ticking of sprinklers, a dog's distant barking from behind a fence. The street is tranquil, perhaps too tranquil. Darius has traversed this route countless times, visiting his sister-in-law. He has never encountered any issues, But today, an unidentifiable tension pervades the atmosphere. His shoulder throbs from his golf swing. He rotates it, feeling a pull. Aging, he muses. Not yet 40, but nearing an age where the physical toll becomes noticeable. 3 blocks remain. It's then that he hears the distinct sound of an engine, the unmistakable rumble of a patrol car, a Crown Victoria police package, its engine note deepening when its occupant is observing rather than driving. Darius doesn't turn around. It's unnecessary. He recognizes that sound more intimately than most individuals on this planet. The vehicle pulls alongside him. Pinewood Springs Police Department, Unit 512, adorned with white and blue markings. Darius continues his stride, his hands visible, his demeanor relaxed. He has committed no transgression. He is on a public thoroughfare. He is fully aware of his rights. The patrol car proceeds past him, then halts. Brake lights illuminate a stark red. The driver's door swings open. A Caucasian officer emerges. Approximately mid-40s, robust build, with sergeant's chevrons on his sleeve. His name tag reads Harlan, and at that moment, everything changes. Bryce Harlan positions himself beside his patrol car. His hand rests on his duty belt, not yet reaching for his firearm, but perilously close. "Excuse me." Darius halts and turns. "Yes, officer." Harlan scrutinizes him from head to toe, taking his time. It's a gaze that assesses and judges before any words are exchanged. His eyes linger on Darius's tan slacks, navy polo shirt, and sneakers. "What are you doing here?" The inflection on "you" lands with the force of a physical blow. Darius has encountered that tone in countless formal complaints, the tone that labels an individual as problematic based solely on their skin color. "Just walking home, sir." "This is a private neighborhood." Harlan crosses his arms. It is not. Riverside Drive is a public street. However, Darius refrains from correcting him. "I am en route to my sister-in-law's residence. My wife and daughter are with her." Harlan's gaze intensifies. "Let me see some identification." "Am I being detained?" A moment of silence ensues. A vehicle passes 2 blocks away. A sprinkler system hums nearby. The ambient sounds of a typical Sunday. Harlan steps closer. One stride, then another. "I asked you a question, boy." 4 letters steeped in centuries of animosity. 4 letters that effectively erase Darius's 37 years, his academic achievements, his 15 years of dedicated service. Darius's jaw tightens. His hands remain visible, a deliberate strategy given the potential consequences of providing this officer with any pretext. "I am not obligated to furnish identification without reasonable suspicion of a criminal act. Am I suspected of a crime?" Harlan's countenance flushes crimson. "You are acting suspiciously." "In what manner?" "Don't get clever with me." "I am endeavoring to comprehend my perceived wrongdoing. I am traversing a public sidewalk." Harlan's hand gravitates towards his belt. "Get your black ass off this street." The words hang in the air. A door opens further down the block. An elderly woman emerges onto her porch, a telephone in her hand. "Officer Harlan, I am simply—" Silence. Harlan turns towards his patrol car, opens the rear compartment, and reaches inside. He withdraws a golf club, a putter, old and bearing numerous scratches. Darius's pulse accelerates. "Officer Harlan, there is no necessity for this." Harlan is not listening. He has already formulated his official report. Subject behaving erratically. Failed to comply with directives. Officer felt endangered. Harlan advances. 3 steps, then 2. Darius raises his hands, palms outward. "I am not resisting." "Damn right you aren't." The club arcs upwards over Harlan's head. The metal catches the sun's rays, then descends with swift, brutal force. The club connects with Darius's left shoulder. A crack. Bone against metal. The sound echoes down the street. An explosion of pain, white hot. Darius's knees buckle. He strikes the sidewalk, the concrete scorching his cheek. "Stop! What are you doing?" The woman's voice emanates from her porch. Harlan grips Darius's jacket, hauling him upright. "Don't resist." "I am not." Pain shoots down Darius's arm. I am not resisting. Harlan raises the club once more, higher this time. The club begins its descent, aimed at Darius's head as his hand reaches inside his jacket. Deliberately, slowly. His right hand moves to his inner pocket. Harlan observes this action, his own hand dropping to his weapon. Hands where I can see them. Darius withdraws it. A badge. A 7-pointed star. Gleaming gold in the sunlight. The inscription is clear. He flips it open. The badge flashes. Detective Darius Mitchell, Internal Affairs Division, Atlanta Police Department. Harlan freezes. The club halts mid-swing. His mouth opens, then closes. The badge flashes again. Harlan's grip loosens. The club falls, clattering on the pavement. He takes a step back. One, then another, his face draining from ruddy to ashen. From her porch, the woman speaks into her phone. 911. A police officer assaulted someone with a golf club. Riverside Drive. I witnessed the entire incident. Harlan stares at the badge, at the blood on Darius's face, at the club lying on the ground. He then turns, enters his vehicle. The engine ignites. Unit 512 pulls away, initially slowly, then accelerating, and finally disappearing from view. Darius remains on the sidewalk, breathing heavily, the badge clutched in his hand, his shoulder ablaze with pain, blood warm on his cheek. The woman hurries down from her porch, dressed in an elderly floral print dress, her face etched with concern. Are you all right? I've called 911? I saw what he did. Darius nods, unable to speak at that moment. The adrenaline recedes, the pain intensifies, but one thought cuts through everything else. Bryce Harlan has just assaulted an internal affairs detective, the very officer empowered to investigate his colleagues. The one individual capable of dismantling his career, his reputation, his very freedom. Harlan had assumed Darius was merely another black man he could intimidate, someone who would remain silent, someone devoid of authority. He was profoundly mistaken, and that error has irrevocably altered everything. The 911 recording captures the entirety of the event. Dispatcher, 911, what is your emergency? Caller, I require police assistance. Ma'am, could you repeat that? A police officer. He was wielding a golf club. He struck a black man who was merely walking. Struck him with the club. I observed the entire incident. The caller is Patricia Moore, 68 years of age, a retired school teacher. She has resided on Riverside Drive for 32 years. She has witnessed many occurrences, but nothing comparable to this. The recording continues. Patricia provides a description of the patrol car, Unit 512. She details the officer, Caucasian, in his 40s, bearing sergeant's stripes. She describes Darius, black, in his 30s, athletic build, bleeding on her sidewalk. The officer departed. Patricia relates, but the individual he struck remains present. He is injured. He presented a badge to me. He is also a police officer. Internal Affairs, he stated. The dispatcher falls silent for a brief interval. Then, Ma'am, please remain on the line. We are dispatching units immediately. Shortly thereafter, 3 Pinewood Springs patrol units arrive. An ambulance transports Darius to Pinewood General Hospital. Patricia Moore provides her formal statement to a detective. She reiterates it 3 times, consistently, because it is the unvarnished truth, and the truth remains unaltered. I witnessed Officer Harlan assault that gentleman for no discernible reason. The man was not resisting, nor was he fleeing, merely walking. Darius Mitchell enters the headquarters of the Pinewood Springs Police Department. His left arm is encased in a sling. A medical report from the hospital indicates a contusion to the left shoulder with a possible rotator cuff strain. There are abrasions to the face and left arm. He has been treated and discharged. He carries a manila folder. Within it are his IA credentials, a formal complaint, copies of his medical records, and a statement meticulously typed while his shoulder throbbed and his daughter inquired about his injury. The desk sergeant appears visibly uncomfortable. Detective Mitchell, the chief is expecting you. Chief Grant Harlan meets him in a conference room. He is 56 years old with 30 years of service to the Pinewood Springs PD. He possesses the bearing of a man who has dedicated his career to safeguarding something. And at this precise moment, that something is his department. Detective Mitchell. Harlan extends his hand. Darius clasps it with his right hand. I want you to understand that we are treating this matter with the utmost seriousness. Excellent, Darius replies, because I am initiating a formal investigation. Harlan's smile tightens. We are currently conducting our own internal review. With all due respect, Chief, Darius states, I will not be awaiting your review. Darius slides the folder across the table. I am a sworn IA detective with interjurisdictional authority granted under Georgia State Code. I possess the legal standing to investigate any peace officer within this state when probable cause is established. Harlan opens the folder and reads. His expression remains impassive, but the edges of the paper are clutched with white knuckles. And I have established probable cause. Darius continues. Assault, battery, deprivation of rights under color of law, and filing a fraudulent report. Harlan shifts in his chair. Detective, I understand you are experiencing distress. I am not distressed, Chief. I am acting with objectivity. This is not a personal matter. It is professional. Darius leans forward. Bryce Harlan assaulted me. Patricia Moore was a witness to this assault. The 911 recording corroborates this account, and his report is demonstrably false. That constitutes 3 separate charges right there. Harlan is a decorated officer with a record of 12 prior complaints. The room falls into silence. Darius allows that number to resonate. 12 complaints over a 7-year span. I reviewed his file this morning. 11 of those complainants were either black or Latino. 7 of those incidents involved the use of excessive force. None of them resulted in any disciplinary action. Harlan's jaw clenches. Those complaints were investigated and determined to be unfounded, unsubstantiated, or administratively closed. I have perused those files, every single one, Darius states. And do you know what I observed, Chief? The wording is virtually identical, the same phrases, the same conclusions. It appears as though someone utilized a standardized template. Harlan rises to his feet. Detective Mitchell, I believe we should defer this conversation until you have had adequate time to... I have had ample time, Darius interrupts. He stands as well, wincing slightly as his shoulder protests the movement. I spent last evening reviewing every single complaint filed against Bryce Harlan, examining witness statements that have inexplicably vanished, scrutinizing body camera footage that mysteriously malfunctioned, and reading reports that were subsequently amended after the fact. He moves towards the door, pauses, and turns back. You have been protecting him, Chief, for years, and I am going to provide irrefutable proof of that fact. The narrative garners local media attention. Channel 8 broadcasts a segment titled, Pinewood Officer Involved in Confrontation with Off-Duty Atlanta Detective. The department's public information officer issues a statement. We take all complaints with the utmost seriousness. A thorough internal review is currently in progress. However, an unexpected development occurs that day, something the department did not anticipate. A call is placed to the Atlanta Chronicle, directed to the investigative desk. The call is transferred to Rebecca Torres, a reporter with 5 years of experience covering police misconduct within Georgia. I witnessed a police officer attack a black man for no reason, Patricia relays. And I believe this has occurred previously. Rebecca Torres listens attentively, meticulously taking notes and posing pertinent questions. By the conclusion of their conversation, she has initiated a new file on her laptop. The subject line reads, Pinewood PD Pattern and Practice. Patricia's doorbell rings. A man in his late 20s stands at her door. Officer Kyle Torres of the Pinewood Springs PD. He is out of uniform and appears visibly nervous. Mrs. Moore, I heard about what you witnessed. I just wanted to say... He glances around furtively. Thank you for speaking out. Patricia studies him intently. Do you know Officer Harlan? I work with him. Kyle's voice drops to a near whisper. And I have observed actions that made me feel uncomfortable. Such as? Kyle hesitates. Then, May I provide you with a name? Someone who might be willing to speak with you, or perhaps that reporter. Patricia hands him a pen and paper. Kyle scribbles down a phone number. This is my personal cell. If Detective Mitchell requires someone on the inside, someone who is prepared to articulate the truth. He departs before Patricia can inquire further, but the paper remains on her kitchen table. The number represents a potential key to unlocking this entire case. Because Bryce Harlan's pattern of violence is not an unknown secret to everyone within Pinewood Springs. Some individuals simply required the impetus to break their silence. Bryce Harlan is seated in a conference room at the Pinewood Springs PD headquarters, his legal counsel beside him, a former police officer himself, now practicing privately, defending officers in misconduct cases. Across the table sits Darius Mitchell, not as a victim this time, but as an investigator. The shift in demeanor is immediate and undeniable. The man who was bleeding on the sidewalk mere days ago now holds all the leverage in this room. Darius opens a folder, his gaze not directed at Bryce, nor acknowledging the attorney yet, as he begins to read from a document. Bryce Harlan, 18 years of service with the Pinewood Springs PD, currently holding the rank of sergeant. 12 internal affairs complaints filed between the years of 2008 and the present. 0 sustained. 0 disciplinary actions. He looks up. That is a truly remarkable record, Officer Harlan. You are either the unluckiest officer in Georgia or something else is transpsty. Bryce's attorney leans forward. Detective Mitchell, my client is here voluntarily to cooperate. Cooperate with what? Darius's voice remains level, professional. Your client assaulted me with a golf club. That is not cooperation. That is assault. And I am not here in the capacity of a victim today. I am here as an internal affairs detective with the authority to investigate this case. The attorney blinks. I was not aware that IA possessed jurisdiction. Georgia Code grants IA detectives cross-jurisdictional authority to investigate peace officers anywhere within the state when probable cause is established. Darius slides a document across the table. This is my authorization, signed by my captain and countersigned by the Georgia Post Commander. Everything I'm doing here is legal, binding, and admissible. Bryce Harlan's complexion pales. He is beginning to grasp what he failed to realize on that fateful Sunday. The individual he assaulted was not a random civilian, not someone who would file a complaint only to have it subsequently buried by the department. The man he attacked makes a living investigating police officers. Officer Harlan, let us discuss your report. You stated I was acting suspiciously. What specific suspicious behavior did you observe? Bryce glances at his attorney, who gives a slight nod. He was walking in a residential area. Darius reiterates, he did not belong there. How did you ascertain that I did not belong? I just knew. You knew? Darius makes a written note. What specifically led you to believe I lacked a legitimate reason to be on Riverside Drive? Was it my attire? Darius inquires. Khakis and a polo shirt. Was it the time of day, afternoon? Was it my demeanor, walking in a direct line? More silence. Or was it the color of my skin, Officer Harlan? The attorney interjects. My client did not engage in racial profiling. Then what was it? Darius's voice remains calm, almost chillingly so. Because I have reviewed your report. You claim I refused to comply with lawful orders. What order did I refuse? Bryce shifts uncomfortably in his chair. I requested identification. Did I refuse to provide it? You questioned whether you were obligated to do so. That is not a refusal. That is exercising my Fourth Amendment rights. Darius flips a page. You also state you employed a minimal level of control technique. Is that how you characterize striking someone with a golf club? I felt threatened. By what? He reached into his jacket to retrieve my badge. Darius states, which you would have observed had you waited 2 seconds instead of swinging a club at my head. The attorney clears his throat. Detective, I believe we have answered sufficient questions for today. One more, Darius says. He looks directly at Bryce Harlan. Have you ever used physical force against a civilian who was subsequently determined to be innocent? Bryce's hands clench beneath the table. Because I am examining your file. 12 complaints. And this is what I have noticed. Every single one follows the identical pattern. A black or Latino individual. A claim of suspicious behavior. An escalation to the use of force. A report filed stating the subject was non-compliant. Darius closes the folder. That is not misfortune, Officer Harlan. That is a pattern. And patterns are precisely what Internal Affairs investigates. He stands. Bryce and his attorney remain seated. This interview is concluded. However, this investigation has only just begun. Darius walks out. Behind him, Bryce Harlan comprehends the gravity of his miscalculation. The badge he struck belongs to the very individual empowered to dismantle his career, his reputation, and his freedom. The roles have reversed. The hunter has become the hunted, and there is no turning back. Rebecca Torres convenes with Darius at a diner situated 20 miles outside Pinewood Springs, deliberately chosen to be away from the town and any prying eyes. She slides into the booth. Call me Darius. He pushes a cup of coffee towards her. Rebecca Torres, Chronicle. She opens her notebook. Patricia mentioned you are investigating Harlan through IA. Correct. Why speak with a reporter? Your profession is the unveiling of truth. Mine is its substantiation in a legal context. Occasionally, these objectives align. Rebecca flips through pages. Patricia provided me with 3 names, individuals who allege Harlan employed excessive force, all black, all from the same vicinity, within the last 2 years. None filed formal complaints. One individual attempted to do so. The desk sergeant advised him it was an unproductive endeavor, that his narrative might become complicated. Rebecca looks up. Another individual received an anonymous phone call at his residence. An unidentified voice suggested that filing complaints against decorated officers often backfires. It was also mentioned that his immigration status might be subjected to scrutiny. Darius's jaw tightens. Witness intimidation. The third individual is a college student unwilling to be officially recorded. She stated that who would believe her account over that of a police officer? They converse for an hour, exchanging information within established parameters. One more thing, Rebecca says. I received an anonymous call. A young male voice stated, if I want to understand Harlan, I should investigate federal grant funding. What grant funding? He wouldn't specify. Just follow the money from the DOJ. She shrugs. It could amount to nothing. Darius makes a notation. If you uncover anything, inform me. They depart separately, with a 10-minute interval between them, yet they are now collaborating on the same case. Rebecca approaches a residence directly opposite the location where Darius was assaulted. An older Hispanic man answers the door. Yes, Mr. Rivera, I am Rebecca Torres, from the Atlanta Chronicle. She presents her credentials. I am investigating an incident that occurred across the street. Were you home at the time? Rivera studies her. I have read your articles on police reform. Excellent work. Please come in. He guides her to a home office. 4 security monitors adorn the wall. I had these installed after a break-in last year. He clicks his mouse. Front, back, both sides. 30-day rolling storage. Rebecca's pulse quickens. Does your front-facing camera encompass the street? A wide-angle view? Everything from my driveway extending 20 feet in either direction. He accesses files. And yes, I still retain the footage from the day of the incident. It's the 6th day in the cycle. May I view it? Rivera pulls up the video. The timestamp indicates the afternoon. Darius enters the frame, hands in his pockets, appearing relaxed, simply walking. Unit 512 pulls up, then stops. Harlan disembarks. A conversation ensues. Darius's body language remains calm throughout. His hands are visible. No threatening gestures are made. Harlan returns to his vehicle and retrieves the golf club. A confrontation. Darius raises his hands. A clear posture of surrender. Harlan swings. Darius falls to the ground. Crystal clear. No ambiguity whatsoever. Complete corroboration of Darius's account. Complete annihilation of Harlan's report. Would you be willing to provide this to my newspaper? Rebecca inquires. I already furnished Detective Mitchell with a copy yesterday, but yes, I would. Rivera burns a DVD. That officer requires accountability. Receipt confirmed. Video evidence secured. That evening, Darius sits at his desk at the Atlanta PD. After hours, the office is deserted. He accesses the Pinewood Springs PD personnel database remotely. His IA credentials grant him legal authorization. He retrieves Harlan's complete complaint history. 12 complaints spanning 7 years. He reads systematically, taking notes. Cases involving the same pattern: racial profiling, excessive force, unlawful searches. The same conclusion, unfounded. The same recurring issue. Missing video evidence, malfunctioning body cameras, dash cameras failing to activate. However, one particular case stands out. A complaint filed some time ago. Harlan had apprehended an individual outside a store. The reason cited was that the individual matched the description of a robbery suspect. No robbery had been reported. The finding was unsubstantiated. The actions taken were deemed within policy. Yet, there exists video footage from Harlan's partner, Kyle Torres. Darius clicks the link. It begins to play. Harlan is observed approaching the individual, apprehending him and slamming him against a wall. The man is not resisting, merely inquiring about his offense. Harlan's response, "Shut up." The camera shifts away for approximately 3 seconds, then returns. The man is on the ground, bleeding. The finding is stated as approximately 2 minutes of footage, but Harlan's report claims only a brief, professional interaction. Someone is demonstrably lying. Darius checks the file properties. Creation date. It aligns with the expected upload time at the end of the shift. Modification date. Several days later, during the course of the investigation. Modified by Captain Victor Cole. A pattern of concealed complaints and tampered evidence has been identified and secured. Rebecca receives a visit at the Atlanta Chronicle offices. 2 gentlemen in suits, identified as Pinewood Springs City attorneys. Ms. Torres, we understand you are currently working on a story concerning our police department. Rebecca does not extend an invitation for them to sit. I am investigating several matters, specifically concerning Officer Bryce Harlan. I am unable to discuss ongoing investigations. We are here to remind you of Georgia's defamation laws. Publishing false or misleading information about a peace officer can result in civil liability. Rebecca smiles coolly. Are you threatening to initiate legal action against me? We are merely advising caution. I am a journalist. Caution involves ensuring every fact is irrefutable before publication, which is precisely what I am doing. The attorneys exchange glances. We would find it unfortunate to see the Chronicle incur unnecessary legal expenses. Please, leave my office. They depart, but their message is unambiguous. Cease your inquiries or face repercussions. Rebecca contacts Darius. They paid me a visit today. I am aware. They are targeting everyone involved. Did they mention your family? A brief silence. Yes, Darius says quietly. They referenced my daughter's name, her school. Good heavens, are you going to cease? No, I'm not stopping. But Rebecca, you must exercise extreme caution. These individuals operate unscrupulously. As do I. Officer Kyle Torres is summoned to Captain Victor Cole's office. Torres, close the door. Kyle complies. He understands what is impending. I understand you have been communicating with individuals concerning Officer Harlan. I provided answers as required. You conveyed information to a reporter. Kyle's heart sinks. I am unaware of any such communication. Do not deceive me, officer. I'm aware of your conversation with Mrs. Moore. I'm also aware that you have been in contact with Detective Mitchell. Cole leans forward. You are young. You have a promising career ahead of you. Do not jeopardize it on account of Bryce Harlan. Captain, I witnessed certain things. You observed an officer performing his duties. Occasionally, the job is unpleasant, but we do not expose our internal issues to outsiders. We protect our own even when they have erred. Cole's expression hardens. Especially then, because if we do not safeguard each other, who will? Kyle departs the office. He discovers his patrol assignment has been altered. Night shift. Assignments to the most perilous areas, the most dangerous calls. This is punishment. A warning. The message has been received. However, Kyle still possesses the copies he made, the emails, the server logs, and he is not finished speaking. Darius sits in his darkened living room at an ungodly hour. Sleep eludes him. His shoulder aches. His mind races relentlessly. His phone illuminates. Maya's name appears. She is calling from upstairs, which signifies an issue. Darius, come here immediately. He descends the stairs, 2 at a time. He finds Maya standing at Layla's window. Outside, parked on their street, a nondescript gray sedan, its engine running, headlights extinguished. It is simply sitting there, observing. Darius retrieves his phone. He dials 911. Then he contacts his captain. By the time Atlanta PD units arrive, the sedan has vanished. However, the message has been unequivocally delivered. We know your residence. Darius stands at his daughter's window, surveying the street. His family sleeps peacefully behind him. His career is jeopardized. His life is threatened. And he poses himself the question everyone eventually confronts. Is it truly worth it? Is exposing one officer's violence justifiable when it places his own family at risk? The answer should be straightforward. But as he gazes upon the empty street where a threat had just lingered, nothing feels simple anymore. Darius does not report for duty. Instead, he sits in his backyard. His coffee grows cold in his hand. The morning sun is already intensely hot. Maya finds him there. You are still here. Yes. Darius, please talk to me. He avoids her gaze. They have threatened you. They have threatened Layla, and I persist in pushing forward regardless. What kind of father does that? Maya sits beside him. The kind who believes certain things are worth defending. Are they truly? He finally looks at her. Bryce Harlan assaulted me. That is unequivocally wrong. But is exposing him worth endangering our 9-year-old daughter? They will not harm Layla. You cannot be certain of that. You cannot possibly know that. His voice cracks. I have dedicated 15 years of my life as a police officer. Do you comprehend what I have learned? Corrupt officers are the most perilous individuals in existence because they possess the badge. They wield authority. They benefit from the system's protection. And you possess the capacity to alter that dynamic. Do I? Darius laughs bitterly. Harlan has filed a complaint against me. The Post is scrutinizing my authority. My own department is beginning to distance themselves. And for what purpose? So I can definitively prove one racist officer assaulted me. There are thousands of individuals like Bryce Harlan out there. If I apprehend one, another will inevitably assume his position. That is not the man I married speaking. Perhaps it should be. He sets down his coffee. Perhaps I should have simply submitted the complaint, allowed it to be buried like the other 12, and resumed my life. You do not genuinely believe that? I am uncertain of what I believe at this juncture. They sit in silence. A bird chirps somewhere nearby. A lawnmower begins its operation 3 houses down. The ordinary sounds of a Sunday, as if the world is not teetering on the brink of collapse. Layla asked me something last night, Maya says softly. What did she ask? She inquired if you intended to cease being a police officer. Darius's chest tightens. What did you tell her? I told her you were the finest police officer I knew because you assist individuals who are incapable of assisting themselves, even when it is arduous, even when it is frightening. Darius closes his eyes. Who assists you, Darius, when you bear this immense burden? When you are confronting the entire system single-handedly? I do not know. I do. Maya takes his hand. We do. Layla and I, Rebecca Torres, Patricia Moore, Kyle Torres, all those individuals who filed complaints that were subsequently buried. We support you because your actions are significant, not solely for your benefit, but for everyone who has ever been a potential victim of Bryce Harlan. What if I am unable to continue? What if I lack the requisite strength? You possess it. You do. How can you be so certain? Because you're still here, still actively engaged in the struggle, despite everything. She squeezes his hand. You could have abandoned this pursuit the very moment they threatened Layla. You could have withdrawn, prioritizing your family's safety. No one would have attributed blame to you. I should have, but you did not, because you understand that if you cease now, Bryce Harlan prevails, the system triumphs, and the next black man who traverses Riverside Drive may not be a police officer, may not possess a badge to display, may not survive. Darius contemplates this statement, the weight of its implications. This transcends you now, Maya says. It extends beyond our family. This pertains to every individual who has ever been subjected to an assault by a police officer and had no recourse. She stands, bestowing a kiss upon his forehead. So, conclude this endeavor, but do so with haste. Because I miss my husband, and our daughter requires her father. She retreats inside. Darius remains in the yard, lost in thought, grappling with doubt and questioning every aspect. Then his phone buzzes. A text message from Rebecca Torres. I have obtained something significant. Can we meet? Darius views the message. He glances at his home, at the window of his daughter's room. Then he stands typing back, where and when? Because Maya is correct. This situation is now larger than himself, and the only path forward is through the conflict. Rebecca's article is published on the Atlanta Chronicle's online platform. The headline reads, The Badge That Safeguards the Badge, within Pinewood PD's ingrained pattern of silence. Part 1 meticulously details Bryce Harlan's professional history, 12 complaints, 11 involving individuals of color, 0 disciplinary actions. The GPS data indicating he was stationary, not actively patrolling. The body camera that inexplicably malfunctioned. Part 2 exposes the digital correspondence. Captain Victor Cole strategically altering narratives. Chief Grant Harlan's directive to maintain low complaint statistics. The DOJ grant and its associated performance metrics. Part 3 reveals the financial aspect. Millions in federal funding contingent upon low complaint rates. The incentive structure designed to suppress allegations. The system established to protect officers rather than citizens. By midday, the article has garnered thousands of views. By evening, it has been shared extensively. National news outlets pick up the story. CNN broadcasts a segment. MSNBC interviews Rebecca. NPR produces a radio report, and a remarkable phenomenon occurs. People begin to vocalize their experiences. A petition appears on change.org. Title: Justice for Detective Mitchell and Accountability for Pinewood Springs PD. The objective is 1,000 signatures. This target is reached within hours. By evening, the number escalates to thousands. By midnight, significantly more. The comment section is inundated with personal accounts. Harlan pulled me over some time ago for driving suspiciously. I'm a black doctor driving home from the hospital in scrubs. I filed a complaint and never received a response. My son was stopped by Harlan last year. The same attitude, the same threats. We were too afraid to report it. I was next. Thank you, Detective Mitchell, for speaking out when the rest of us could not. Hundreds of individuals congregate outside Pinewood Springs City Hall. A peaceful demonstration ensues. Signs are displayed. Fire Bryce Harlan. Investigate Pinewood PD. Black lives are not suspicious. Local news outlets provide coverage. Subsequently, national news organizations follow suit. City council members, previously silenced, now express a desire to comment. The mayor issues a statement. We are taking these allegations with the utmost seriousness and are committed to transparency. These are ostensibly empty words, but they are now officially recorded. That afternoon, Darius's phone rings. An unknown number from Atlanta. Detective Mitchell, this is Marcus Reed. I am an attorney with the Southern Advocacy Center. We represent individuals who have been victims of police misconduct. We would be pleased to offer our assistance. I appreciate that, but I am managing this. Detective, Reed interjects respectfully, You are no longer managing a solitary case. You have brought to light a systemic problem that necessitates systemic remedies. Reed pauses. We possess the necessary resources, legal support, and connections to federal investigators, and we wish to aid you in completing what you have initiated. Who? Darius ponders. What would that entail? Let us file a federal civil rights lawsuit on behalf of all of Bryce Harlan's victims. Let us demand a federal investigation into Pinewood PD's operational practices. Let us ensure this situation does not conclude merely with the disciplinary action of one officer. Let us effect systemic change. And your investigation, continue your work. We will provide our support without interference. Darius concurs. That evening, his phone buzzes. Kyle Torres. Detective, I have acquired additional server logs, metadata indicating the precise timestamps when reports were modified, the individuals who made those modifications, email backups. Captain Victor Cole believed he had deleted them. How did you obtain them? I am trained. I was granted administrative access to the server some time ago. They neglected to revoke it. Kyle transmits the files. Dozens of documents, each representing a crucial piece of the puzzle. Whistleblower evidence from within the department has been secured. The following morning, Darius awakens with a distinct sensation. Not precisely hope, but something closely resembling it. The tide is indeed turning. And for the first time since that fateful Sunday, he harbors a belief that he might actually emerge victorious. Kyle Torres' files unveil something even more alarming than Darius had initially anticipated. He accesses the server logs, observing timestamps indicating when internal reports were accessed, modified, and saved. Bryce Harlan's case from some time ago. The complaint had been filed, and the investigation concluded as unfounded. However, the server log clearly indicates that the incident report was altered several days later during the pendency of the investigation. The original report stated that the subject was non-compliant and verbally aggressive, and OC spray was administered to achieve compliance. The amended version, however, described the subject as exhibiting suspicious behavior. Verbal commands were issued, and the subject complied without incident. OC spray, or pepper spray, was entirely expunged from the official record. Who executed this alteration? Captain Victor Cole. Darius delves deeper, uncovering similar patterns in several other cases. Reports were modified mid-investigation. Allegations of excessive force were softened to mere verbal warnings. Witness statements were altered to align with the officers' accounts. But the most damning file is an email Kyle recovered from the server backup. It originates from Chief Grant Harlan and is addressed to Captain Victor Cole. Subject: FY Grant Compliance Urgent. We are already into the new year and have accumulated several complaints. We cannot afford another year like the last. The DOJ is reviewing our grant renewal. If our complaint numbers do not reflect improvement, we stand to lose millions in funding. I am implementing new protocols effective immediately. 1. All civilian complaints must undergo supervisory review prior to formal submission. 2. Officers named in complaints will participate in the complaint review process. 3. IA investigations must conclude within days with a strong presumption of unfounded findings. 4. Priority protection for senior officers, specifically Harlan, Patterson, Davis, and Martinez. This is not negotiable. Our budget is dependent on these metrics. Adjust procedures accordingly. Darius reads the email 3 times. This is not a case of a single captain shielding a single problematic officer. This is a department-wide directive issued from the highest echelon. These protocols are explicitly designed to suppress complaints, protect officers with questionable conduct, and secure federal funding. The undeniable proof has been obtained. He forwards all the information to Rebecca Torres, to Marcus Reed at the Southern Advocacy Center, and to another party, someone he has been deliberately avoiding contacting. Atlanta Field Office, FBI, Civil Rights Division. Darius receives a telephone call from Special Agent Victoria Anderson. Detective Mitchell, I have received your package. The documents you transmitted pertaining to the Pinewood Springs PD have initiated a preliminary investigation on our part. We are investigating pattern or practice violations under federal code. If your evidence proves accurate, we are looking at the possibility of a consent decree. A consent decree signifies federal oversight, the type of intervention that necessitates entire departments to undergo comprehensive reform. How long will this process take? These matters typically require considerable time, often months. However, given the media attention and the clarity of your evidence, Anderson pauses, we can expedite the process. I am assigning a dedicated team today. Darius experiences a sensation he has not felt in weeks. Vindication. Not for himself personally, but for every individual who filed a complaint that was subsequently disregarded, for every victim whose truth was erased, for every witness who was silenced. That afternoon, Rebecca Torres publishes the subsequent installment of her investigative series. The headline, Federal Grant Monies Purchase Silence. She meticulously details the DOJ funding, the performance metrics directly linked to complaint rates, Chief Grant Harlan's directive for systematic suppression, and the financial incentives underpinning every buried allegation. The article incorporates interviews with several of Bryce Harlan's prior alleged victims, individuals who attempted to report incidents and were rebuffed, individuals who were coerced into silence through threats, individuals who believed their accounts would never be believed. Now everyone believes them because the evidence does not lie. The Pinewood Springs City Council announces an emergency session. A public hearing is scheduled to address allegations against the police department and to formally request an independent investigation. The invitation is extended to the public, to alleged victims, to witnesses, and to Detective Darius Mitchell. The reckoning is imminent, and everyone is aware of it. The council chambers are packed. Every seat is occupied. Individuals are standing along the walls. News cameras from various stations are present. Reporters from Atlanta, Savannah, and even national outlets are in attendance. Darius Mitchell occupies a seat in the front row. Maya is seated beside him. Rebecca Torres is 2 rows back. Marcus Reed is at a table with other attorneys from the Southern Advocacy Center. Councilwoman Andrea Taylor brings the meeting to order with the sound of the gavel. We are convened today to address the allegations leveled against the Pinewood Springs Police Department. This hearing will be officially recorded. All statements provided will become public record. Chief Grant Harlan is seated at a table with city attorneys. Bryce Harlan is positioned beside him. Captain Victor Cole is seated next to Bryce. They appear confident, as if they have weathered scandals in the past. They have not encountered what is about to unfold. Detective Darius Mitchell, Councilwoman Taylor announces, please approach the podium. Darius walks to the podium. He has no notes. He requires none. Members of the council, on that particular Sunday afternoon, I was traversing Riverside Drive. Sergeant Bryce Harlan initiated a stop. He inquired about my presence in the neighborhood. I explained I was visiting family. He then demanded identification. I questioned whether I was being detained. He declined to provide an answer. The room is utterly silent. Every gaze is fixed upon him. Subsequently, Officer Harlan retrieved a golf club from his patrol vehicle and proceeded to strike me. I sustained injuries necessitating immediate medical treatment. When I presented my internal affairs badge, he dropped the weapon and departed the scene. Darius pauses, allowing the weight of his words to settle. However, he continues, this incident is not solely about me. This pertains to a system that has permitted Officer Harlan to brutalize numerous individuals over an extended period without facing a single instance of disciplinary action. He produces a document and begins reading names, dates, and allegations. Each name represents an individual. Each individual a life impacted. 11 of these complainants are black. 7 involved the use of excessive force. All were closed as unfounded. A projection screen behind him illuminates Rebecca's contribution. The email from Chief Grant Harlan is displayed, large enough for all present to read. This email, dispatched by Chief Harlan, instructs his command staff to suppress complaints in order to maintain federal grant funding. Millions are contingent upon low complaint numbers. That is the price Pinewood PD has assigned to justice. That is what your department values above truth. Chief Grant Harlan rises to his feet. That email has been taken out of context. Has it? Darius produces another document. Server logs indicate that Captain Victor Cole edited several incident reports during active investigations. Allegations of excessive force were altered to mere verbal warnings. Mentions of pepper spray, physical contact, and threats were omitted. Bryce Harlan's attorney attempts to interject. Councilwoman Taylor cuts him off. You will have your opportunity to speak. Officer Harlan did not merely assault me. He has been assaulting individuals for years. The distinction lies in the fact that I possessed a badge. I had access to resources. I possessed the knowledge necessary to mount a defense. His other victims did not. On that Sunday, Darius looks directly at Bryce Harlan. You commanded me to get my black ass off that street. You made an assumption predicated on my skin color. You determined I did not belong. You assaulted me with a weapon, and then you fabricated your report. Bryce's face flushes crimson. But here is something you failed to ascertain. I am internal affairs, and my professional duty is to hold officers such as yourself accountable. Darius steps back from the podium. I am formally recommending that Bryce Harlan be terminated, prosecuted, and stripped of his peace officer certification. I am recommending a federal investigation into the Pinewood Springs PD for pattern and practice violations, and I am recommending that Chief Grant Harlan and Captain Victor Cole face criminal charges for obstruction of justice. The room erupts. Some applaud, others shout. Cameras flash incessantly. Bryce Harlan's attorney stands. My client wishes to make a statement. Bryce approaches the microphone and reads from prepared notes. I deny any racial bias. I felt threatened by Detective Mitchell's presence and demeanor. I acted in accordance with my training. These allegations are baseless and constitute a coordinated attack on law enforcement. He then adds, deviating from his script. I have served this community for years. I have risked my life, and now I am being systematically destroyed by a man who ambushed me. Ambushed you? Darius stands. I was walking home. You were in a neighborhood where what? Where black people do not belong. Bryce falls silent. He realizes he has divulged too much. Marcus Reed approaches the podium. Council members, the Southern Advocacy Center represents numerous individuals who have been victimized by Officer Harlan. We are initiating a federal civil rights lawsuit. Furthermore, we formally request that the Department of Justice commence an investigation into the Pinewood PD under the consent decree process. He presents a substantial binder. This document contains witness testimonies, medical records, server logs, emails, and GPS data. All the evidence necessary to demonstrate that this is not merely the misconduct of one problematic officer, but rather systemic corruption. Councilwoman Taylor accepts the binder and opens it. Her expression turns pale as she reads the initial page. Council, we must proceed with a vote. Shall we formally request an independent federal investigation? Several council members, the majority, vote affirmatively without hesitation. The motion carries. We will formally request a DOJ investigation. Furthermore, Officer Bryce Harlan, you are hereby suspended without pay pending the conclusion of the criminal investigation. Chief Grant Harlan and Captain Victor Cole, you are placed on administrative leave. The gavel falls. The proceedings conclude. Bryce Harlan is suspended without remuneration. Criminal charges are filed. Aggravated assault, filing a false report, deprivation of rights under color of law. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation initiates a comprehensive audit of the Pinewood Springs Police Department. Captain Victor Cole submits his resignation. Chief Grant Harlan is placed under investigation. The Department of Justice formally announces a pattern or practice investigation. Several other officers, including those named in the email, are placed under scrutiny. The federal grant funding is suspended pending the outcome of the investigations. Darius Mitchell returns to his post at the Atlanta PD. The same desk, the same badge. His shoulder still aches during inclement weather, but it is gradually healing. One evening, Layla asks him, Dad, did you win? Darius pauses to consider the question. We won, baby. Not just me. All of us. Because here's the truth about the badge. It's intended to protect everyone, but far too often it prioritizes self-preservation. Bryce Harlan had perceived Darius Mitchell as merely another black man on Riverside Drive. Someone he could intimidate. Someone who would remain silent. Someone who did not belong. The badge protects those who protect it, until someone within the system refuses to look away. 8 seconds, that's all it took. A golf club, a badge, a flash of gold in the Georgia sun. 8 seconds that definitively proved that sometimes the victim possesses more power than the system that sought to dismantle them. If this narrative has resonated with you, please express your appreciation by clicking the like button. Subscribe for additional stories where justice is not merely discussed but actively fought for. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Have you ever taken a stand when it incurred a personal cost? Have you ever been told you didn't belong? These dialogues are crucial because silence ultimately benefits the wrong individuals. And Detective Darius Mitchell, he continues his work, persists in his investigations, and steadfastly upholds his principles because there are more individuals like Bryce Harlan out there, and someone must refuse to avert their gaze.
In the end, the truth always comes out.